Hello, lab rats. This is Jessica.
And this is Kendra.
And welcome to a mini baby itsy bitsy Lucid Lab episode because we're going to take 1 week of a break.
The holidays are hectic and some of the cases we chose, well, specifically the case I chose, ended up being a lot more complex, which you'll get to hear next week.
Yes.
But we also had some sickness over the holidays. Finding time for our families and recording was difficult.
It just didn't line up and we really tried to do it. We really did.
We did.
We are down to the nail. Everything is scheduled, but it's just sometimes things get in the way and it doesn't work out that day. And if we can't do it that day, then it doesn't happen.
Yep. Life is messy.
It can be.
And we know all of you understand that. So thank you for your grace and forgive us for not putting out a full episode. But we did want to take some time just to talk to you guys because we don't do this as much.
No, we don't.
It's a new year. We have big plans for 2025. I'm trying not to think about all of the scary parts and focusing on the positive and the things that I can control.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. It's all about intention and what we hope to see come out of this year. For the podcast, you know, obviously we want to keep growing that. We want it to be different this year. We're almost at 100 episodes.
We are. That's a big landmark for us.
It is.
And we've been hearing more comments from you guys lately and just know that fuels us to keep going.
It does. Every single time I get a comment, I'm like, okay,
you
can do this. Your legs hurt right now, but keep at it.
And it keeps us propelling forward. And we have our entire calendar booked out, I think, through August right now with some really exciting content for you. I know that we will have a couple of breaks coming up again. We'll do some more reruns just because we're mamas and we're working full time and we're trying to figure it all out.
And I'm going on a trip and I never go on trips. So.
And Jessica deserves some time off. Yeah. This is our passion project. So we have to remember and remind ourselves, because we're both kind of workaholics in a way, that it's okay to take some breaks here and there.
Yeah. And that was my intention for the year, like tied to the podcast, but tied to my personal life, is because, as we've said, I'm a Capricorn. Like I work myself to the bone and it's usually at the detriment of my health, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I get migraines a lot. I'm very tired. I don't get enough sleep and I don't want to complain anymore. So I'm trying to like be more intentional with my time because I'm also a mom and I have a young daughter and she's growing up. And guess what?
Too fast.
And she has a lot of emotions. And some days I have to focus all on that. And then I'm like, wow, 6 months ago, I would have been like hours into my podcast at this point during this particular day. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I have to pick and choose my days. And so I'm trying to be more intentional with how we do life, but how we also do this, because this is what we want to do
full time.
And it needs to work all together swimmingly. So just one of my biggest intentions is figuring out how things will mesh in a way that's going to be sustainable.
Very important. I think I shared on here and Jessica did it as well. We did the 12 days of Yule and burned our intentions.
We did.
I will share mine coming out on New Year's Day. I was not happy with the one that the universe chose for me, but it's an important one. It's one that's been weighing on me for years. It's one of the main reasons we started this podcast. And that is that I will find a job this year that more closely aligns with my values.
And hopefully that's this.
This lines perfectly with my values. The corporate world, while it does afford me a very comfortable life as far as a steady paycheck, it's not what I'm passionate about and it doesn't align with my values. I work for a company that is very aligned with conservative politics and has donated to that. And you know how I feel.
Yep.
And that drives a lot of the decisions that they make. And although they treat me well and I have good health insurance and it's allowed me to raise my kids are grown now and I can be more
selective,
risky, I guess, with my career. So I'm challenging myself and the universe chose that for me. And I'll let you guys know how it goes as I try and find what that is. Because while I want it to be the podcast full time, I have to pay my mortgage.
Yeah. And so my hope for you is that it's something that gives you even more flexibility.
Yes.
For this.
Exactly.
But still makes you happy because we still have to do that work while we don't get paid by the podcast.
Right.
And those are hours and hours of our life. And we're exchanging that time to pay some fucking bills. And it's really annoying some days.
It is very annoying.
It's very disheartening. And I know all of you guys understand that. So
we're preaching to the choir here probably because I think all of us are feeling this. I see it through social media. There's a big movement this year towards underconsumption.
Yep.
And I am buying into that. I did a full analysis of where I spent my money last year, and I was not happy with the amount I gave to Amazon and some of the other big retail stores. And I'm not going to do that this year. Going to be intentional. Like you said, you're intentional about your time. I'm going to be more intentional about where I spend my money, knowing that if I want to make a career change, I may not have as much income.
Yes. And that's a big one. You know, when I moved, in order to do that, I had to do something similar. I'm like, all right, this isn't exactly what is going to support me forever, but right now it's supporting the change that I need. And that was what was necessary for us at the time. But you have to do what's right for you in the moment. The problem that I've always had, and obviously you too, is we get comfortable, we get complacent, and we're loyal. And sometimes the problem is you're not loyal to yourself.
Exactly.
And that's my biggest struggle. That's always been my biggest struggle, is my loyalty to others instead of what is actually good for me and my life and my daughter. So I guess that's also one of my challenges this year, even though it was not on my thing. I was more specific to the podcast. And I will not tell you which one I got because it's very personal.
Right.
And it's something I have to deal with right away. So when I got that, I was like, fuck you. But
both of us were like, damn it.
This is not the one I wanted to have to be responsible for.
I wanted the one that just said I had to eat better or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember how I worded it.
Get a rockin' bod, even though that's really hard apparently to still do.
I probably would fail at that one. That's why the universe is like, Kendra, you're over that stage of your life. You need to focus on this. I didn't make any of my intentions. We talked about this.
Yes.
None of ours were easy.
No,
because
they were all very hard.
We want to grow. I feel like, we are almost 2 years into this podcast, and
I know.
I've seen it grow as far as like the content we're doing, how we're presenting ourselves. We feel cringe about some of our earlier episodes.
And we still do. Like, what you guys don't see in the background, since this is just a whatever episode, is that the software we use, it updates all the time.
Oh my God.
And we've had to deal with the headaches of what we're used to using isn't there anymore. And we're like, why did you change that? All of a sudden we have to learn how to edit an entire episode that does not sound at all like what we used to do. And there's all these new things. So there's a lot of headaches that we're having to deal with in the background. So if you guys ever notice like a consistency change, sometimes it's not our fault. And like, we're just trying to do the best we can in the week that we have to do it,
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys can give us some grace there too, because we're
perfectionists.
Yeah. And it really sucks.
So we've put content out there that we're just like, damn it, we have to, because Tuesday's coming up.
Yep.
And we're not super happy with the audio quality is mostly it. We
Yes.
hear things that we don't like. We hope all of you are off to a good start for your new year, and maybe you've set your own intentions.
Honestly, I just hope that you don't have to see it as like, oh, new year, new me. They're just things to improve what you're doing, because if you're not going to take charge and changing little bits about your life, then you're never going to move forward. They say that only constant in life is change.
True.
And that includes love for yourself. So if you're happy where you are, that just means enjoy it more, taking the moments to sit down and remember and enjoy and be in the moment. That doesn't mean things need to change just because it's a new year. If you're happy,
keep doing what you're doing.
Do what you do and just enjoy it more.
But things will always change in the world around us. And
absolutely.
the only thing we can control is how we react to it. And I have to tell myself that every day. I've stopped looking at the news as much because I can't handle it right now. But we are coming up on the inauguration soon, and pray for us all in America, because I am afraid.
Yeah. And I haven't thought about it, to be honest, because also where your mind goes and tension flows. And I don't want that to be my reality right now. So
nope, I'm just going to focus on what we can control, which is this podcast. We hope you're all along for the ride again in 2025.
Yes.
And on that note,
stay very lucid or numb right now. I don't care.
Whichever one works for you.
We love you guys, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.